All right, so Emily, with 1:20 to go now before the event final, what did you glean off of those interviews? Are we looking at a match race between Outeridge and Slingsby, and the Great Dane's going to slide in there and take the win?
No, I think we're going to have a three-way battle. It's easy to sell the Dane short because he doesn't come from the same Olympic background as these two, but he has heaps of experience. Both him and Tom Johnson have 2 laps of the planet under their belt. And I'll tell you what, it's not easy driving in the Southern Ocean, so I think Slingsby and Outeridge have their hands full dealing with him as well.
All right, final 50 seconds of preparation. Stevie, what's being talked about on the boat? And they've already made up their strategy of where they're going to want to be.
Totally different game now. There's a lot more space out here on the start line. We can already see the boats a lot further apart. I like the fact that Tom Slingsby was the last boat back and he's leading the fleet here. The rest of the day he's been behind the boats. He's been the one trying to find an opportunity, whereas now he's in control. But how's this battle going to work out? It is aggressive out here. They're all saying they're close to the top of the line. That means advantage Outeridge and New Zealand for me here. But it's all about hitting that red line. Down towards the bottom end of our screen is where our data tells us is the favourite place to start, and it's all about acceleration. Denmark look like they're going to be trapped out. They're going to miss the start here. Slingsby slut the door on him at the top, but it's all about the acceleration. Australia are going to be so. Denmark are slow. Who's going to be on time? Oh, I think New Zealand are over early as well. Oh, what a start. What a mistake by all of the crews. What a mistake there. Australia early, New Zealand early. Denmark will lead at Mark 1. Oh, a huge error there. Now, how did Denmark play this? They're going to want to make sure they get to Mark 1 at top speed. No rush for Sehested here. No rush. Get the boat sailing fast and now send it down towards Mark 1 hard. It's going to be advantage Sehested when we get to Mark 1. He needs to get past New Zealand before New Zealand are clear to go. Australia are clear. They're out behind now. New Zealand are clear. We're up and racing with 3 boats as they come into Mark 1.
At mark number 1, it is the Great Dane and Rockwell, Denmark that take the lead. Pre-start penalties issued to the Kiwis and the Aussies.
Oh, they said they were hungry for a bit of risk. All 3 of them had way too much risk for breakfast on that start line, that is for sure. But now, advantage Sehested. Perfect first manoeuvre. He'll be lined up for this bottom gate, and it's all about the decision. Do you turn left or do you turn right at gate number 2?
There is no room for error out there. All 3 teams doing over 60 kilometers an hour, but these maneuvers are crucial. Look how close these teams are.
Full 7 legs here, the event final at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix in Sydney Harbour, and Denmark is gifted the lead at mark number 1. Now, can there be some overtaking, or can the Great Dane run away from the Kiwis and the Aussies?
Well, Denmark have got the first choice, and they're going to save a manoeuvre by going straight here. New Zealand and Australia are probably going to split away right. It's advantage for Australia. This is a tricky situation for New Zealand now. They're going to be following the Aussies. And, well, Denmark, expect them to head back towards the other 2 boats fairly soon. But it's advantage Denmark. That's a big lead at the bottom gate. And traditionally, that left turn has done pretty well here as New Zealand already come back towards this side of the course. And all the boats are trying to find their own clear wind.
It's a good moment here for the Danish. The breeze is slightly lighter on the top half of the screen, but only just.
Well, our ladder lines here, Todd, are showing actually a lead change and advantage Australia now. When they turn the boat here and head back across towards Denmark, the right of way is with the Danish, but it appears to be a gain early on the leg for the Aussies. But will it play out that way? Denmark's looked pretty fast there. Raz pushing the ride height really hard on board that Danish boat. They are ahead, but it's only very marginal, and there's plenty of race left here.
Leg 3 of 7, Denmark out in front as we go down on the water. Lisa Darmanin, in your unbiased opinion, whose position do you like the most?
I do like where Denmark is headed. That has traditionally been the right way to go. But, you know, there's so much going on here, boat-on-boat situations. New Zealand and Australia are in a battle here, but I think this is going to favour Denmark.
I think what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a few mistakes actually out there. There's definitely no one sailing the boat perfectly cleanly just yet. There's a nice lead for Sehested here. No surprise to say the Aussies aren't going away. Right of way is with Australia here. If it's tight, Sir Hested needs to be confident he's ahead. Catch her down there. She's just coming up. She was watching the Australian boat to make sure that all's clear, and they are clear. So as we head up this leg, it's going to stay tight for the Australians right now. Stay in the match. Keep breathing down the neck of that Danish crew. Denmark have never won a final. They're going to feel that pressure, and the Aussies are going to keep plying it.
And at the moment, the Danish team do have the highest average speed, 51.1 kilometers an hour average, but that's only 1 km an hour faster than the Australians behind them.
Denmark are heading towards less wind up there. That water, look how glassy it looks up there compared to where Australia are. I think Slingsby's in better wind, and he's going to be on the inside coming into the gate at the top here. We know there's only going to be meters in it, but I feel like Denmark have put a lot of risk on themselves at the moment.
Then we can tack inside them, can't we? Go have a look.
You can, Tom. You can tack inside. It's going to be tight here. Tom's looking to set up for the left turn. The left turn's been favoured here. Watch for the Aussies to sling inside. And it's Slingsby. He's pushing it hard. He's got to manoeuvre out the Danish way here. That's really close. Maybe too close. Oh, that was really tight. What judgment by Slingsby. It's clear. No penalty there from the Australians. They judged that to perfection. What a move.
So Australia looking for their first win in Season 4. Will it come on home waters? It's Australia, Denmark, and New Zealand as they make the way through gate number 3.
The Danish just looked a little bit wobbly down there. It's really close. Now they're locked in. Now they're the hunter. Maybe a position Sir Hested's happier with here. But as we get towards the boundary here, Denmark, if they can get themselves inside, they might be able to force the Aussies to move first. And they do. Slingsby has to jibe away. He's turning the boat away from Denmark first. And Denmark are pushing as wide as possible on the racetrack. They want to try and make the next gate with no more manoeuvres.
So it's down to the bottom of the course, back up around Genesis Island, then halfway back down, and then it'll be the sprint to the finish and the title.
Yeah, and right now, where Slingsby's positioned himself, the wind's coming from the top left-hand corner of our screen, and Slingsby's going to slowly press the disturbed wind down onto the Danish, and if he can just move forward maybe 3 or 4 more meters, he'll start to really affect the breeze getting to the Danish.
This is just a moment ago. This was the mark where Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell did not penalize the Australians.
And they were comfy there. You can see there was probably a couple of meters in it. It was tight, but well, it should be tight, shouldn't it? It's supposed to be tight, it's supposed to be close, and Slingsby saw an opportunity and he bit their hand off for it. Look at that judgment on board the boat. As we see it, bottom right-hand corner of our screen, it's the Australians turning up to the upwind leg.
And we'll see if that turns out to be the move of the match. It's the Danes and the Australians splitting the course here. We'll see what Nathan Outridge and the Kiwis decide to do.
Look at that, 0 seconds in it at gate 4 as we're on the final upwind leg of the race. This will be decisive. Who's found the most wind at the bottom of the course?
Now we do have a flip-flop here from the previous bottom gate, with now the Danish going the left-hand side of the course, which did pay for the Australians on the previous.
Rockwool, Denmark, currently sitting in second place on the water. Australia out in front. Remember, this all started after pre-start penalties were issued to Australia and New Zealand, and the great Dane Nikolai Sested took advantage of it. Now he's in for the fight of his life as he goes head-to-head with Tom Slingsby.
Big mistake there. They turned too close to that red and white marker, and they had to do a slow manoeuvre. They're some 15 kilometres slower out of that, and look at that 100-metre loss in the blink of an eye. Unforced error. That's going to be costly for the Danish, and that could well hand the victory here to the hometown hero, Tom Slingsby. Just so much less pressure on the Aussies now. It was tight on that upwind leg before. There was nothing here, but look at the fans there. Plenty of the locals wanting that, and right now Denmark, well, they're now fighting to hold on to second from New Zealand. One mistake and you get absolutely hammered for it.
Is there time for Denmark and New Zealand to catch the ruse, Stevie, or is this going to be a situation where they're going to have to rely on a Tom Slingsby mistake?
It's absolutely that. This is now it's only if the Australians make a mistake that they lose this from here. They've got total control. We know to the left-hand side of our screen there's better wind.
I wonder if we have to go back.
Yeah, there you go. Carl Langford wants to watch the boats behind. Slingsby's happy to split. Decision, slight disagreement there on board the Australian boat. But there you go. New Zealand starts to follow Australia. And what are Denmark going to do?
And turning.
So New Zealand makes the turn. Denmark now makes the turn as they all head to this last gate here at the top of the course. Lisa Darmanin, what are you seeing? What do you think is going to happen here in the final portions of this race?
I think it's quite tricky decision for Australia because they are going into lighter pressure compared to their competitors, but this means that they just do one turn and that they can head to that mark and they got one more drive to the finish. So it was really balancing pressure maneuvers, but compared to Denmark on the last lap, they've managed to have a really nice smooth ride through that light patch and stay on the foils. So I think they will have the commanding lead at the top here.
Look at this, here comes Denmark.
It's really tight, right of way with Australia, but if Denmark can get close to that circle, Sehested might have the opportunity to do exactly what Tom Slingsby did to him. Is Denmark going to try and sling it inside? No, he's not. He deems Australia to be too far ahead. There's going to be a split, but big advantage to the Australians as Nikolai Sehested chooses to follow. He yields. Oh, it's so tight though, Todd, here. Any mistake now, this is a one-mistake race. If Australia misses the next manoeuvre.
I'm crossing. Yeah, my wheel.
So was it checkmate for the Australians with one more to go? It'll be the Mark 6, and they'll make the sprint for the finish line.
And we just got to make sure they don't go inside us.
Trying to protect that inside line.
Little build.
Just got to make sure they keep the speed in, and they've got to judge the line to this final turning mark. As we see there, Mark 6, they've got to make sure they can do that. Will Sehested try and dive inside? I don't think Australia are going to make a mistake here. There you go, no, perfect from them. Carl Langford's happy with it, and he's putting that disturbed wind back onto Denmark. I don't see any passing lane from here, but what a comeback by Rockwool Denmark.
So now the sprint is on for the finish line in the title at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix Sydney, and it's Australia by a full boat length. They have finished in second, third, second, third, second, and seventh. But here on home waters, Tom Slingsby works his magic. Hocus pocus, Australia takes the win in Sydney.
Oh.
And the party begins on Genesis Island. Denmark finishes in second. New Zealand will take third.
Never in doubt, never in doubt. Well, that was a messy old start. What a race we had there. There was a lot of tension in that pre-start, a lot of mistakes during the race. But when it counts, Tom Slingsby and those Australians have got it done.
So it's Australia now that gets to celebrate at their home regatta, the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix Sydney. And for the first time in season 4, it is the Australians that get the overall victory. And with under a minute 8 to go before the start of the race, Canada will be the third team that will profile Phil Robertson, of course, Kiwi by birth, the winner of this event last year. Stevie, he's got some good people around him, including no other than Paul Campbell-James.
Yeah, Paul CJ's been a nice addition to the team, but again, Billy Gooderham, I can't help but look at him. Big Gooderham's got to fly the boat aggressively, and what I love there in Phil's interview, he just said what he wants to do. We can judge him on his plan. The plan, he said, was to win the pin end of the line. What does he mean by that? He means the downwind end, the end that's going to be closest to the bottom of our TV screen. That's because from the top of the line, they're struggling to get full pace, but Burling wants it too. He tries to turn inside the Canadians. Robertson defends, cuts down across the Kiwis. Now, here we go. What's the next play? Robertson's well positioned, but New Zealand will have a run at him, and Delapierre looks like he's going to go on his own, and he's going to wind it up on that French boat now. New Zealand, one more turn down. They attack the Canadians again. Does Robertson defend, or does he open things up? It's 9 seconds to go. Canada must keep clear of New Zealand. Burling's timed this well. France are coming at pace. How's your timing? Peter Burling at the bottom of the line. Perfect from the Kiwis there on the inside. They have control. They should lead from here at Mark 1, but there's going to be some tight rules incidents. France must keep clear of Canada. Canada must keep clear of New Zealand, but the Canadians are out the back.
The French are the fastest boat on the course right now. Over 80 kilometres an hour of speed. The Kiwis also very quick and have the inside.
At mark number 1, it is the Kiwis. The black foils are up and foiling with pace. Canada sits on the inside, France on the outside. Stevie, this is a big moment, leg 2 of 7.
Well, Robertson called the best place to start, but he just couldn't quite execute it. Burling's timing was absolutely spot on. He attacked him with 10 seconds to go. There was no defence left now. Big decision at the bottom here. Do you save a manoeuvre on this leg with a left turn, or we've seen the Kiwis make a gain by heading back towards the crowd. It'll be interesting what Burling and Toop choose to do. This is the first time they've actually had a choice. Looks like they're going to keep it simple with a left turn. Canada will follow. I anticipate France is surely going to look to split the course. But they're going to stay with them. The whole fleet are staying tight, and if you're on board that New Zealand boat, you are over the moon to see that.
New Zealand, the winners of race number 1, Canada won race number 2, and France won race number 3. So all the winners are out there today, and Canada's the first to turn away.
Well, yeah, they just say as soon as you're sailing behind someone, Todd, you're in disturbed wind. You've effectively got less potential horsepower. Someone's blocking the wind in front of you there, and that's why Canada have chosen to get out, so they can sail their own race, sail with their own speed. But it was a bit of a loss early on the leg for the Canadians, and France, they're going to be struggling to overtake the New Zealand boat by just following at the moment.
At the boundary, it is the Kiwis, the black foils, they make the turn. Content Delapierre and the French, they sit in second on the course as it stands right now. Did Phil Robertson make the right call to split away early?
Find out in a minute. It doesn't look like a great call at the moment. It looks like the wind's rotated right. He's got a big left shift at the top. He's really turned away from those lines, but he's struggling. Look how slow they are. The wind's got light on that left-hand side, and that's what Lisa told us. There's more wind towards the bottom of our screen. Should be good news for France and New Zealand, and it certainly looks at the minute. Canada off the foils.
And so far we are seeing the Kiwis sailing beautifully. Out of the maneuvers, they are accelerating so much quicker than the French, and that's saying something for the boat that previously was the masterclass.
Oh yeah, but the New Zealand boat spent most of the day sailing in disturbed wind. We've not really seen what they can do, and right now, look at that. That was a massive loss, that extra manoeuvre. The wind got light on Canada, and they now need a mistake from those two lead boats. They're just at the minute that both teams, New Zealand and France, are stretching as wide as they can on the course. They're sailing right from boundary to boundary. That strategically is to save manoeuvres. Every time you turn the boat like this, you lose speed, you lose distance. So if you can minimise manoeuvres, you get yourself sailing around the course pretty quick.
But look at the speed of Canada right now. It's increasing. Now at 58 kilometers an hour, where the Kiwis are going 43, the French drop now to 39.
Yeah, they're just sailing a slightly faster, wider angle at the moment. Todd, New Zealand desperately trying to make it up to this next turning mark without another manoeuvre. That's the main priority for the Kiwis at the moment. France chasing in, but New Zealand, if they can get round here, I imagine France will follow them, and they'll feel very much in a controlling position on New Zealand. It's all about keeping it tidy.
Oh, and now. Sorry.
Now it's the Kiwis on to leg 4 of 7 here in the event final of the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix, trying to win their home event. France does in fact follow the Kiwis, and now it is Canada that has lost distance despite the speed, and the speed picks up for the Kiwis. Look at this, approaching 70 kilometers an hour.
The French currently with the fastest average speed around the course, slightly closing that gap with the Kiwis, but will it be enough?
That's just classic of the French. They like to sail the boat fast, but normally the consequence of sailing the boat fast is you're sailing a little bit more distance. It's always a little way up. Do you sail less distance or do you sail faster? And New Zealand at the moment, what I like about the French right here is they're just, the Kiwis continually are making the right moves. So don't do the wrong move and give them the race easily. At the minute the French are staying there, once we're halfway up the next upwind leg, Delapierre's going to have to try something. He can't continue to follow the Kiwis, but at the moment it's not a terrible strategy because you just keep the pressure on the Kiwis and you see if they're going to crack under that pressure.
Certainly something that does not happen very often. Peter Burling cracking under pressure, but to your point, Stevie, this really is the first race that they've had this all by themselves out in front, no one to have to deal with. As Lisa talked to Peter Burling, having that extra space. Wasn't really confident about their starts, but today it seemed to work, and here they are at gate number 4.
Yeah, here go the French. Now he's making his move. Delapierre chooses to do the extra manoeuvre down here, splits away. Burling turns right back towards the fans, and this is it. This is Delapierre's move. He's splitting the course. He's hoping for extra, but look at that. They're a bit high. They're a bit loose on that rounding. It was a tricky rounding, but they're messy. They're messy on the French boat there. They've got slow. Should be good news for the Kiwis, but when they next come back together, whoever is ahead, I think, will look to take the win here because they're going to have a big advantage.
Currently, we have slightly more pressure on that offshore side, as we've seen before with the French, but not a lot.
No, No, and it looks like a gain to me to New Zealand, to be perfectly honest right now. Looks like potentially a 100-metre move. I think the French had to do that. I've got no problem with that from Delapierre. He needed to try something, but they just didn't execute it well. It was a messy rounding at the bottom. Not the easiest thing to do, the jibe and then turn the boat up. 2 manoeuvres in a row, but they just didn't do it smoothly. 50 metres is now 120 metres. This is the New Zealand black foils. This is their chance to bring it home in front of the fans.
Now, if they take the win here, it's not just the event that they are going to win. They are going to take the lead on the overall season leaderboard.
And a very tidy maneuver there by the black foils. The Kiwis and their sponsors looks like they are bringing it home. The lead now, it has shrunk down to 100, so the French have picked up about 50 meters, but again, they are running out of real estate as the Kiwis will get through this next gate, then they'll head back up the course. Phil Robertson getting back into play, but he has run out of time as well. He's got a massive deficit to second and first.
Yeah, Burling did that extra maneuver there to ensure that he controls the final decision into the gate, so he was happy to sacrifice a few meters to give himself tactical control here. He's going to turn the boat now one last time before this top gate, right on top of the French, and then it should now be one turn downwind and they'll be lined up for the final mark. So yeah, lost a bit of distance to gain a lot of control there. Classic, safe match racing move from Burling on the French, and it's advantage New Zealand. Delapierre and the French crew need a Kiwi mistake to have any hope of getting the win here now.
How easy are we making it? Okay, come down. France round right turn now.
So France follows New Zealand, hoping that Peter Burling and his team possibly make a mistake, have a sloppy maneuver, and they can capitalize. But right now it is over 200 meters that the Kiwis have the lead. They have waited a long time for this one, and they are on their way to claiming the title here in Christchurch.
Last maneuver here, Todd. Can they nail it? The boat's smooth. Look how level that platform stays. Both hulls similar distance above the water, silky smooth. They then tip the boat slightly on top. There's a lot of water over them avoiding that mark. Oh, that was a little bit scrappy by the Kiwis. Oh, but the French are scrappy in the background as well. They're up in the air. Maybe fatigue. It's been a long day out here on the water, but right now the black foils are locked back in. They've got the heel locked back in. The French are charging, but it's going to be too little too late on board this French boat. Going to be second for France as the black, hear the crowd on the shore. That sounds like half of New Zealand standing up to applaud them.
And they bring it straight in towards the Adrenaline Lounge here in Littleton Harbour. All of Christchurch on their feet. Say hello to your winners. It's the Black Foils with the win.
Nothing the Kiwis like more than a hometown win, and France bring it home in second. Quentin Delapierre, well, he's a pragmatic guy for the season. Massive, massive moment for the French. That could put them back into the top three, back into that dream of making the grand final in San Francisco later in season 4. But have a look at that for the New Zealand crew. Burling, he's pumped. The fans are pumped. What a day's racing.
And look at the size of the crowd that turned out. They were disappointed yesterday that there was no racing. Certainly worth the wait today. Action from the very start, and it is the hometown favorites, the Black Foils, that get the win here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix.
It's going to be interesting here to see where the Spanish team set up. In that interview, Flo was really open with their plan going forward. He said, we don't want to be the most windward boat. So that's that left-hand side of the screen, that mark, they don't want to be there. So let's see where they do end up putting themselves.
Where you want to be and where you end up is obviously two different things, especially when you've got the Aussies and the Kiwis going at it. And as Stevie pointed out, these are the top 3 teams on the overall standings, with New Zealand in first, Australia in second, and Spain currently in third.
Well, no good battle plan survives contact with the enemy at that first time. So here we go. New Zealand and Australia, they're tied together at the bottom. Spain are going to be the team with the run-up at things here. Right-hand side of our screen, that's the downwind end of the line. Most teams will want to be there. Most teams are going to be able to have a run-up. Spain and Australia and New Zealand up on the foils. Spain looking a little late on proceedings here. They got to pop up on the foils. There they go. They're going to wind it up at the top. Our pole predictor says they're perfectly placed at the moment. Rope-a-dope from the the Spanish at the moment as they are the most upwind boat. But can they get over the top of the black foils? Who can get it here? Pole predictor really showing the Spanish good. They make a late move down the line. How's your time in there, Botin? You look like you could have judged this just to perfect. Watch the line turn white. It's go here. The Spanish, what a move. They've slung onto the inside, timed it well. Fastest angle with New Zealand, but the Spanish have the tactical inside position. New Zealand are going to have to open the afterburners from here.
As they approach mark number 1, it is Spain out in front with New Zealand and Australia. This is the event final of the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix.
Oh, pole predictor looks pretty good from there. It's judged it well. Some move by Botin. He pulled it out the bag. They lead at mark 1. Australia at the back. Slingsby's going to be looking to make a move. And now, here we go. Time to settle the heart rates down. The Spanish now will be all about when do the boats behind manoeuvre? When can we make it to the gate with no more turns?
And the Spanish, currently the fastest boat on the course, almost 60 kilometers an hour there. On the reach, they had the highest average speed.
Once again, though, New Zealand done a lovely job with that little slingshot jibe, surprising the Spanish there. Spain have gone wide. They'll be enjoying the bit of space on the course. It's all about finding good wind now. You can see breeze moving down the course, but these boats go faster than the wind. So look slightly to the right of them for the wind they're going to sail into. Quite good news for Australia at the moment, but the Spanish still look fairly comfortable. Boat speed's very similar at the top of the mast, and it's going to be a couple more manoeuvres for New Zealand and Australia to get to the gate. It'll be interesting if Spain can get in there in one.
And there we go, the Spanish boat speed is building now. They are the fastest boat on the course, slightly more breeze, 22 kilometers an hour compared to 20 on Australia at the top of the screen.
The question is, though, can Diego Botin and the Spanish hold on to this lead? Two of the very best in the business with Tom Slingsby and Peter Burling are in this race as well. This is a little longer than the races you saw just prior. This is a 7-leg race, Stevie, so does that change things, or is the Spanish team comfortable in holding them off for this long?
Well, it means you try and stay in the race a little bit more early on. I think the Spanish here are going to sail their own path. I think they're quite an easy opportunity to actually just turn in front of New Zealand and block their manoeuvre to the right turn. So I'm surprised they've given the Kiwis the leverage first, but they've had the first pick. They'll have been able to look for the wind, they'll have been able to make their choice, and now it kind of depends which way does the first wind shift goes. If the wind rotates towards the right of our screen, be good news for the Spanish team. If it rotates left, good news for New Zealand and Australia. 8 seconds is a big gain at gate 1, though.
Well, the good news is we've got a reporter down on the water, Lisa Darman, and what are you seeing? What do you think for the conditions with this being a 7-leg race?
I think a 7-leg race and also more room on the race course means that there's a little bit more opportunity for manoeuvres. But as we were hearing, it is a lot lighter. The manoeuvres are way more costly. Right now, Spain, they're in really good pressure. I think that they do have the better shift, so it's in the right, which means that they're sailing slightly less distance. I think that they will cross New Zealand in this. Australia, though, they look like they've lost on New Zealand.
And there are the wind speeds, just as Lisa has predicted. The Spanish are in better breeze and a better shift there. As we heard in the interview with Nicole, she did say the right-hand side was where they were ending up, or wanted to end up, and they did it.
Well, they did, but have a look at that. Remember, it was an 8-second difference at gate 2. Already the black foils have, well, it's got to be down to 2 seconds at most there. And when the boats meet up again, the rules-wise, who's got the right of way? Well, it'll be New Zealand that have the right of way. So if it is close, it's going to be pressure on Spain. But as we say, it's an open racetrack. But all the teams are choosing to sail fairly freely. I think the wind's fairly average on the shift at the moment. Both look like they're moving up the course fairly similar amount. But New Zealand are sailing to the side where traditionally, or not traditionally, where today we've seen a little bit more wind on average.
And when we look at the modes that these teams are sailing, so far we're seeing the Spanish sailing wider angles, so further away from the marks, but at a faster speed. Meanwhile, the Kiwis, sticking true to their form this weekend, they're sailing at a slightly slower speed, but they are sailing less distance and more direct towards the mark.
Here is look at that good angle of the wind for Spain at the moment. They're sailing nicely up the ladder lines, but right away with New Zealand in the background, they get a little high. Ooh, good catch. 100% foil flight time all round. Australia flying the highest at the moment, but New Zealand have the right of way. The Spanish are going to have to think about this. Do they turn in front of Spain? I think you try and turn in front of New Zealand if you can, but the Kiwis are going to be faster. Tight moment here. Spain owns the mark. The black foils have got the most speed at the moment. Spain holds on. Great tactical sailing by Botin. Expect an attack on this downwind from the black foils.
Diego Botín and the Spanish get to that yellow circle first. They take the priority. It slows down the Kiwis. And so now it is Spain who got the whole shot at mark number 1. They are back into first place. Burling now in second place. And this is going to be a great and very important leg, Stevie and Emily, as they make their way down course.
And we saw some expert boat handling there by the Spanish team. We saw as they turned that they kept both boards in the water for an extended period of time. And this is because it was crucial in that maneuver to stay up on the foils at all costs. So it is a little bit slower when you put both foils in the water for a long time, more drag, but it ensures you stay up on the foils and can get up to speed quickly.
Stevie, this position, though, are the black foils getting the disturbed air from Spain?
No, the black foils would be trying to put the disturbed air onto Spain, but I think the Spanish actually sailed an angle a little bit away from the wind to tactically position for this move. They've positioned themselves well. They took a little loss to have a long-term gain. They will now be looking to put disturbed air down onto the New Zealand team, and that's going to be good down the rest of the leg.
And this on the bottom left is a little summary from that previous leg. So you can see what I was talking about with the Spanish sailing slightly more distant than the Kiwis. Well, the Kiwis are opting for that 2.0.
Really tight down here. There will be a little bit of disturbed air going onto the New Zealand boat, but not a lot. The Spanish have positioned really well. Fantastic tactical sailing. Took a little loss at the top for control, but expect the Kiwi. Here we go. Black foils are going to split away, and I think the right turn has worked well for them so far today. Both boats turn the mark, and it looks to me like what was 8 seconds is going to be 0 seconds. Absolutely neck and neck at that bottom mark there. 1 second in it. There's nothing in it. Who finds the most wind? Spain sailing to breeze. But what have New Zealand found on this side of the course?
And you heard Diego Botín say as they went around the gate, good pressure here, so he's looking to make some changes and hopefully pick up some distance.
And there's the live speeds, both wind speed and boat speed. The Spanish are sailing so quick at the moment, 50 kilometers an hour. They're only dropping now because they have turned.
Here we go. Pretty decisive moment in the race here. It looks like a nice choice early on the leg for the Spanish. Burling won't like what he sees at the moment, but if the wind rotates towards the left of the course, that will be good news for the black foils. Here we go. How well do they stick this manoeuvre?
Look at that choreography. Burling comes across there and just keeps it up.
I think that was a pretty good manoeuvre. The wind looked a little bit light, but right now that is a gain to the Spanish. Big gain. Huge move there. 100-meter lead there in the blink of an eye. Opportunity here for the Spanish to lock things down. They're far enough ahead to turn the boat directly in front of New Zealand and get themselves going the same way. I'll be surprised if the Spanish continue and give a separation to New Zealand now.
And if you're just joining us, this is the event final at the Apex Group Bermuda Sail Grand Prix. These are the 3 teams with the most points. It is Spain out in front, New Zealand in second, Australia in third. They're going to go to the top of the course, come back down the course, and then a quick left-hander to the finish line. And in a matter of minutes, we're going to find out who's going to claim the title.
So the Spanish had a 100-meter lead there. It is dropping rapidly now down to almost only 60 meters of lead as they came across that bottom side of the course, giving a little more advantage to the Kiwis. It'll be interesting to see what happens after this next turn.
Stevie, if I'm Spain and I've seen what the black foils have done all weekend long, I want a pretty sizable lead as I get around this next gate.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised they kind of let that gap open up. If the Spanish can make it to this gate with no more manoeuvres, I think that could be a good move there. But they're going to let separation form again with the black foils. It looks like the Spanish are setting up, so they're going to try and block New Zealand. They've got a big enough lead. I think, yeah, they look comfy. They look calm. There you go. No rush. Good comms from Florian Trittle. And yeah, I think the black foils, they're fast, but they're making some little mistakes. And here you go. They're trying to split away from the fleet. Huge amount of heel. Not a great manoeuvre by the black foils.
Look at the Kiwis.
They're trying to force things.
3, 2, 1.
So was that a case of the Kiwis see more pressure on that side of the course, or they just wanted to split the course and get away from the Spanish?
Last roll of the dice, I'd say that was, Todd, because they did not do a great manoeuvre. That was a last-minute decision. It's left the Aussies back in. They will have a chance on this downwind leg. At least they're on separate sides, but this is big advantage Spain right now.
To me, that final manoeuvre by Spain could have been the race-winning moment, forcing the Kiwis to turn away and come off the foils.
And don't look now, but Tom Slingsby back in the mix. He would love to pick up another position and somehow pass Peter Burling and the Kiwis. Remember, nothing will change in the overall, despite the fact that these 3 teams are battling in the event final, because this is 1, 2, and 3. Remember, it's 10 points to the winner, 9 for second, 8 for third. And with New Zealand with a 9-point lead on Australia, they will not lose the overall, but Australia would love to pick up yet another point.
Yeah, I think at the moment the Spanish crew are sailing back into good wind here, right of ways with New Zealand, but that's too big a lead here. Botín and Trittle have absolutely nailed this one. They've put a brilliant race together after a perfect start. Advantage Spain at the moment if they can make it with no more manoeuvres. It looks good, like at the moment they look like they're aiming for that mark, and they're comfy on New Zealand.
Spain all dressed up and looking for suitors as they are looking for new sponsorships, and what a way to put this on your CV.
Pressure here, looks good.
Very nice indeed as Diego Botín comes around this last mark. Winners in Los Angeles, and it is Spain who gets into the final here in Bermuda by a tiebreaker, and give it up for the Spanish. They will claim the victory here in Bermuda.
Oh, vamos the Gallas.
Amazing moment for this Spanish team, stealing the win from the Australians and the New Zealanders.
What a moment. I mean, what an arrival in SailGP, really, to beat the two top teams by a long way. It's a great result again for the Black Foils. Australia, well, they'll be happy to get the wheels back on the bus, but for Spain, what an incredible result, and well done to that crew, because they nailed the start when the pressure was on.
One of the youngest teams in SailGP, and they come up with yet another victory. They back up Los Angeles with a big win here in Bermuda.
I think Luke Parkinson, Ian Jensen, big moment for them here, and the grinding team on that Emirates GBR team is always so big and powerful.
Great Britain, France, Denmark, welcome to the final. The course is 5LG2, the axis is 355, length is 0.75 nautical miles. Good luck.
Okay, so we've got the same course as before. The axis means that's the wind direction, so it's pretty much coming out the north. It'll be cold out there on the water, but these sailors won't mind that, just good breeze. Interesting, we heard Hannah Mills there say big righty at the moment. That means the wind's rotated more towards the right of our screen. You'd want to be more on the bottom end of this start line where France are heading for now. That's the pole position. They're shown as the pole predictors at the moment, but they've potentially given Giles Scott room to wind up and come out below. They're all going to fight to be towards the bottom of our screen at the gun. Here come the British. They're up and foiling. They're going to start to press on the French, but it's about acceleration. All boats are early here. Here we go. 4 seconds. Watch for the line to turn white. Who's got the timing? Great by the British. They're out the middle of the line. Pole predictor says they look good, but all the boats were slow. It's an acceleration competition from here. Tactically, I like where Great Britain is, but can the Vikings put down the thunder and roll over the top from up there?
Okay, working back up.
It's going to be good for Great Britain, Todd, here.
Coming down in 2, easing. 1, working down.
At mark number 1 of the Rockwool Canada Sail Grand Prix Halifax, it is Emirates GBR that gets the whole shot. French tucks in right behind them, and here come the Danes.
Look at the top of the mast there, 90 kilometres an hour on the Bearaway.
Getting softer. Yep.
That's 48 knots in old money sailing talk there. That's big boat speed at the Bearaway, but more importantly, it's total control for the Brits. French first to turn, though. Have the French judged it right? They could potentially be inside here. Great Britain needs to be aggressive if the French can make the left turn. And then Charles Scott needs to be aggressive here.
So far, the Brits have nailed their plan. They nailed the start. They were first to mark 1. Now it's time to consolidate.
Okay, full speed here.
Oh, he looks good shape here. It's going to be a lead for the Brits here.
No overlap. Getting softer.
Right now, Emirates GBR, as they approach gate number 2, they lead here at the event final. They are a well-oiled British machine, and we'll see how they handle this under high pressure.
We know Giles is new, but let's not forget Giles is a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. He's used to these high-pressure races. He's been there, done that in the past, and we can see it's the boats behind them. The French have got real loose there. Oh, they came off the foils. Slow manoeuvre. Great news for the British. Big gains for the British team here.
Yeah, we can see minus ride height there for the French team just from where they've crashed down. Meanwhile, the Danish really pushing that foiling height over a metre above the water at times, which might be a little bit out of control there.
I think you've got to remember, Todd, as well, if you have a big crash like the French, the boat fills up with water, so it's really heavy. They've got to drain a certain amount of water to get rid, so it's not just the immediate moment. It takes a little while to get going. They're going now, but they've lost a good few hundred metres. Lisa, is there much hope out there for this French crew to find better wind in near the Halifax shore?
I actually do like like where they're heading. I did say that the wind had died off, but I can tell you right now it's picked up a lot. And where the French are heading, there's really good breeze. I think it's also going left shift, which means Denmark's a little bit compromised, but we still have the winds coming off the shore, so it's really gusty and lots of low-level cloud really messing with it. So it is a little bit of a shorter race, this one, so not as much time for the teams to catch up, and not much traffic as well. So I think the French are looking pretty vulnerable right now.
Okay, so a left shift, that means the wind's turned towards the left, which would favour the British. It means it's turned towards their side of the course. It gives them an opportunity to sail less distance on that British boat.
And less distance is great, and currently they've also got the highest average speed, so brilliant sailing for them.
Here we go, we're on board the French. Now let's watch in the left-hand side of the screen here at the foil. Let's see how high they go across the boat. It gets all a little loose. Bit of a slip up on the wing trim there. As Kevin Pepinay, who's now on the left of our screen, left, the wing sail suddenly flew out. Contan maybe didn't quite have a good grip. Anyway, mistakes matter at this level, and the British now, that is a big lead. No mistakes from the British, and they should have complete control from here.
Well, look at the French. They've got themselves back into a good position right now. It's Emirates GBR as they approach gate number 3. They have the lead here in the event final. Here comes Denmark, possibly, as Lisa said, with better pressure on that wing, but it is all Giles Scott and Emirates GBR now. As they make the turn on gate 3, they'll head towards Halifax.
Slowing the turn. A little bit more to come. Really good breeze on in 15 this way.
So that's Hannah Mills, strategist at the back there. She's saying she likes the breeze. That means there's more velocity in the wind. They're sailing pretty much straight down the course. It looks pretty nice for the British crew at the moment here, and that's a good few hundred metres lead.
Let's extend into it.
It's a split. Lisa, we got a big split. Is there any hope for Rottwell Denmark with this split?
Well, there has been a few Hail Marys out on that side. I think the British team, they just have too much of a lead there and plenty of pressure. So if they stick this manoeuvre, I think they're looking pretty safe.
Here we go. These are the sailors on board the boats here. I think Giles Scott, they're running across. I think the height deceptive. Luke Parkinson still stays in the pod, still flying the boat. Now he's handed control over to Giles to fly the boat. Luke runs across and he's back on the tools.
And the Danish team have really been struggling for speed there on the left-hand side of the course, giving the advantage to that French team who followed the Brits inshore onto the Halifax side.
Gate number 4, the event final. It is still Emirates GBR. Giles Scott at the wheel. Stevie, the conversation is constant on board that boat, but it's calm constant.
Yeah, this is a pretty experienced crew out there. Let's not forget. I mean, everyone on this boat, other than Giles Scott, has won several of these events. So there's a lot of experience there. And as I say, let's not lose sight of the fact Giles is a 2-time gold medalist. Got another split coming from Rottwell Denmark here, but those two interacting so closely with each other for the second and place only means more meters for the British crew.
And it's a 17-second lead right now for Emirates GBR over Denmark, 20-second lead over France as they will head upwind one more time, then it'll be back to the bottom and then the quick right-hand turn to the finish line.
Surprised where the British manoeuvred there. I think they've opened the door here. But definitely the wind has rotated in Rottwell's favour.
Stick lefty on this corner.
Yeah,
You
okay.
can see just how much pressure the Danish team gained though by going into Halifax. They had 36 kilometres an hour of pressure while the Brits were down at 25. That is a big difference.
I think you're right, Emily, but I think most importantly as well, the wind's rotated left, and at the moment, the best angle to be sailing is the angle Rottwell Denmark are on. So it's gains for Rottwell Denmark, but they need the wind to rotate back the other way. So it's all in the hands of the god at the moment. Sehested's given themselves a chance, but it looks to me like a conservative approach from Giles Scott to try and bring things back together with the Vikings is good. But look, one wind shift and the right of way will be with Sehested. There's all the chance for this to change up a little bit here. It's going to be tight at this final gate.
The lead was 300 meters for Emirates GBR. It is now less than 100 meters.
Here we go, look, still 50 meters in it. Advantage Great Britain for sure. It's not quite happened for Rottwell Denmark on that side of the course. They were hoping for more of a wind shift. British are ahead. Let's listen in.
This tack's going to be huge.
Yeah, let's watch it and listen to it. Look how unstable the boat is before the manoeuvre. The wind's so changeable there.
Oh, and a little bit of a dip with some industrial language apologies. And you heard about it. We heard Hannah Mills talking about pressure on the exit.
Well, they were just unstable in. They were really unstable in, and they just dipped the hull in, and now they've opportunity. If Rottwell Denmark can make this left turn, this is absolute game on. The British will be quicker, But
I don't think
they're not.
Like it.
No.
They're not, but if they turn inside the zone, they can own that zone. Great Britain needs to go wide here.
And here comes
Watch out.
France.
That's what I mean. Those two are slowing each other up. France need to stay. Oh, but look at it. Carnage. Oh, the French had to keep clear. They got too high. That's handed it to the British. Rockwell, Denmark went full aggression with the French. Open the door for the Emirates, Great Britain, and that should be things done.
And that's almost game, set, match as Content Delapierre comes in hot on that gate. And he had nowhere to go, Nikolai. Hested sees the road bump, and both of them now look at the distance that Great Britain has opened up.
Well, he did have somewhere to go, Todd. He should have aimed down behind Rockwell, Denmark. He was no chance he was going to cross there. He was trying to push it. He was expecting Rockwell, Denmark to tack, and Nikolai said, no chance, mate. I'm hanging you out on the side of the course. So a bit of a mistake by the French, but all that's done is handed this to Giles Scott. And what a moment in his SailGP career.
Stay split if you're happy, Marco. Okay, my rate.
Let's look at this one more time.
Here we go, we're on board the French. Crucially, the Danish are coming in. We see Manon there looking at the Danes. They're both looking at the Danes. They're expecting him to turn. He doesn't. Gets too loose on the flight control there, and he had to be out of the way. I mean, that's pretty inexcusable, really.
So it was less than 100 meters, and a showdown at gate number 5 turns in to a British walk in the park. Look at this top speed, 93.4 kilometers an hour, and it will be Giles Scott making the turn at mark number 6. Hannah Mills and company on the back of the boat as the British bring it home, and it will be welcome back to the winner's podium. It will be Emirates GBR that claims the win in Canada.
There you go, that's great. The whole crew really enjoying that. What a moment. Tight for second, though. Look at that bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Delapierre's turned in front of Rockwell, Denmark. Can he keep the hammer down and stay round? Rockwell, Denmark going fast round the outside. It's an absolute sprint. Who's going to get it on the line? I think it's the French for me. Oh, ho, ho. Wow, how crucial is that point going to be at the end of the season, Todd?
What
Absolutely
a way to finish
massive.
in Halifax. Great Britain gets the win. France in second. Denmark finishes in third. Doesn't get much better than that. One of the great sport towns in America, San Francisco, California, with the iconic Golden Gate Bridge. The conditions near perfection. It will be Spain, it will be Australia, and it will be New Zealand to decide who walks away with $2 million and honors as champion in season 4.
Well, it looks like Tom Slingsby has looked into his magic ball and got the answer that he would be followed back by Burling, because Burling is last into the box with 46 seconds to go. Spain separates out. Expect Australia and New Zealand to get quite close in a battle for that downwind end of the line. Spain looks like they're going to go for space. New Zealand decides to turn back early. 34 seconds to go here. Every boat's going to have a long run up. It's all on the judgment. Top of the line, Spain. They're going to have the fastest angle to Mark 1, but that optimum position is at the downwind end. Here comes the push from Slingsby. Trying to get over the top, trying to gain control. Burling now, he's the attacker. Who's got their timing right here with 18 seconds to go? It's time to wind it up on board Spain right now. New Zealand are going to have one more big push at the Australians. Can Slingsby defend? Timing, absolutely crucial. Pole position sits with Australia, and at the bottom of the line, here comes the black foils. Who's got their timing right? They're all going to hit the line fast. Spain's so fast at the top of the line. Pole predictor says they're going to lead at Mark 1, but I think they're going to struggle to get round the top of the Australians from here. Absolute drag race in at the moment. New Zealand, can they stay alongside? It's going to be Spain. They're going to lead at Mark 1.
There we go.
The season 4 grand final is on as they approach mark number 1, and it is the Spanish out in front. The first time they have led a race here in San Francisco, and they picked the perfect time.
Oh, the execution was perfect, Todd. And you could just see the ramifications of those other races. New Zealand were scared of the start line. They ended up a little bit slow at it. They've been early advertising. Look at the fans on the shore. There's been 2 massive sporting successes for Spain today. They say these things come in threes, and when a start like that makes it best possible. Australia are being forced off the course. There's a boat in the way of them there. Oh, no, disaster for the Aussies. No massive panic, but that's really opened the door for the Black Foils to come back at the Spanish as they set themselves up for gate 2. We've seen that one more manoeuvre and a right turn has been the favoured move all day. Let's see what they go with.
And the pressure is on the Spanish team here. They have been slightly slower on average on this downwind leg than the Kiwis trailing behind them, but clearly gusting pressure on them now, almost up to 80 kilometers an hour.
See the dark patches on the water. That's what they're looking for. That's where your gusts of winds are coming from. You see the speeds at the top of the mast. 76 kilometers an hour for the Spanish out in front. They got the whole shot. And now it is on. It is going to be who can reach this finish line first. We've got 6 legs to go, and the Spanish in prime position.
They're setting it up here. They'll gain the right of way when they manoeuvre the boat here, so they don't need to worry too much about the Australians. They just need to worry about the gate. Now for the Blackfoils, they want to keep things tight as we're heading down to the bottom of the course. Australia, oh, there's a late decision there by Slingsby. That doesn't look like the perfect manoeuvre, but it's so tight. Oh, there's just one turning mark at the bottom of the course here. Spain, they take the right turn. They're going to go round, but New Zealand execute a nice turning. Advantage New Zealand at the moment. As we head towards that boundary on the shoreline there, the Spanish will be able to manoeuvre away, but the Blackfoils are coming as all 3 boats head off in the same direction. It's just a boat speed race at the moment.
A boat speed race, but there is so much pressure on every manoeuvre they make, especially as they get in close to the shore and it gets gustier. They cannot drop off the foils in these manoeuvres, or they leave the door open to the boats behind to get through.
Here we go. New Zealand, they manoeuvre straight on top of the Australians. That's not good news for Slingsby. And the Spanish now, they're stretching out all the way to boundary here. So now this is a real test of strength as we go across here. Can the Spanish, with their nose out in front, make that red boat go fast enough? They've struggled all weekend, but they've given themselves the perfect opportunity right now. But the Blackfoils are faster at the moment.
And there you get a good idea of just how big that lead is. It's about 100 meters with Spain at the top of your screen. The red and yellow. Then it's New Zealand in second place, Australia in third.
All 3 teams with 100% fly time so far. On average, we're seeing the Spanish push that ride height just a little bit more than the other 2, really putting that pressure on themselves to get there first.
Hard moment for the Australians across there, but I think it's going to get hard for the Kiwis from here because Spanish focus will go on to that second place boat right now. They'll try and put the boat directly into the wind of the New Zealand boat, try and block the wind down to the New Zealand boat as we're on board the T-Mobile for Business POV camera, and that's a pretty smooth tack out there. But Lisa, we can see all the boats heading back towards the shoreline. Where's the advantage at the minute?
The shoreline has definitely been paying all day. What's really interesting though is the whole course has gotten way flatter, so that tide is probably ripping in now, so that's flattening the waves out. So they can probably push the boat, like Emily was saying with the ride height. It has gotten a little bit lighter as well, so they can probably push the boat even more. So it'd be interesting. It is neck and neck here. Anything can happen still.
Oh, they're in a really good patch of wind on that shoreline, Todd. Spain have the right of way here, but the Australians have gone so fast across there. Going to be a big blocking move by the Spanish. New Zealand now have some space, but they're back in third, but there's nothing in this. When the boats come back together, New Zealand will have the right of way, but are they close enough to make that count?
Coming up on the halfway point here, the grand final, leg 3 of 6. It is Spain barely ahead of the Australians, and there you see on the left side of your screen, it is New Zealand. So who is going to make the right decision here as they approach the gate?
Speeds are looking good on those teams close to the shore, Spain and Australia. Kiwis looking a little bit slower on average offshore.
I just think there's more wind up on that shoreline. They were in a big patch of breeze up there, the Spanish and the Australians, but there's still plenty to go here in this race. But the Blackfoils have got a problem. They've got to find a way through, and there's not going to be easily found. Spain positioning themselves perfectly. They've maybe sailed a little bit further than they needed to here. Could have been right in front of the Australians there. Slight mistake by the Spanish. They will lead at this gate, but they could have hurt the Australians into here.
It is a safe place for them to manoeuvre though. They can put the bow down, sail a wider angle, accelerate. As you can see here, 69, 70 kilometers an hour for the Spanish team.
And watch this as they hit the turbo and make the turn. Look at the speeds.
Ooh, 90k an hour around that mark. And here we go, roll of the dice for New Zealand. Desperation times for the Blackfoils. They've been so dominant in season 4, but it doesn't matter. The Spanish boat, who've also really been the surprise act of the whole season, well, look at them. Go the Gambas.
All the points are washed away to Stevie's point, although the Kiwis came into this one on 93 points, well clear of Australia and Spain. Those scores marked away. It is all one race for the title.
Okay, look at the Spanish go, and of course, Wimbledon was won today by Carlos Alcaraz. The European Football Championships was won today by the Spanish. And here we go.
They're going for the triple.
Feels like it. Feels like momentum's on their side, doesn't it? But the Australians are not going away anywhere. New Zealand have sailed away from wind. There's definitely more wind by that shore.
Just want to keep it close here, guys. We'll take them on the next beat.
Oh,
good call. Good call. A solid call. It's not the time to roll it away. You don't. If you want to overtake someone, you don't deliberately do the wrong thing. You've got to keep the pressure on. Slingsby's been in this situation. Diego Bottin has never been in a situation where he's got in his hands at the moment. He holds the SailGP Season 4 trophy.
Diego Bottin now operating with a 100-meter lead. He does not know what Tom Slingsby is planning, but he's got to know, Stevie, Tom Slingsby is going to take some chances. He's got one more leg to do it.
And they're setting up here for that final maneuver downwind to that bottom gate. It's a right turn in. There's no options here. So they'll be headed back in towards the shore where they had better breeze.
It's pretty nice for the Spanish that there is only one mark at the bottom there, where that gate's unfortunately, we've just ended up with one mark, and it just means total control for the Spanish because Australia have to follow. Okay, the Australians are going to want to try and keep this. They're going to set it up after the next manoeuvre. They'll try and manoeuvre away first and then rely on their boat speed to get round the Spanish. But New Zealand, wow, huge loss by sailing away from that shore.
You can see here the Spanish keep trying to sail that slightly higher mode. So they're a little bit slower than Australia, but they're sailing a shorter distance up the course, and that's just to get a tactical advantage over
They missed the manoeuvre.
Australia dipping both holes.
They missed that.
Still
The
off of
board's
one.
not gone down. You can see the board's not locking. Oh, that's
Huge
the
gains
board's
to
not.
Spain.
That's a disaster. That's a tech issue. The board's now locked. Big mistake on the tack there. As they turned the boat, the board needed to click onto the lock. It didn't. Oh, it'll be interesting to find out what that was, but that's going to be absolutely disastrous. It's a 150-metre, nearly 200-metre lead for Spain now. Oh, is this the crowning moment for this Spanish team?
Could this be a Cinderella story played out on the water? Look at this one more time.
Here we go. We set up for the manoeuvre here. They turn the boat. It's that foil on the left-hand side of our screen. See how it starts to come up? It's coming up. It's not locked down properly. And then as of that, the boat doesn't stay on the foils. Disaster for the Australians. Oh, what a nightmare for them. Massive lead now for the Spanish. Can they make it to this final turning mark with just one more manoeuvre? I'm not sure if they can, looking at the angles we've got here, but the Australians are miles away.
Keep it going.
Yeah, exactly.
Solid, Diego. I think you've nailed it, mate. Just got to keep it calm. They've got to respect the basics now. That yellow line there, that is the ley line. So that means once they've passed that, they should be able to do this one final manoeuvre and then make it to the final turning mark with no more turns. This is it. Season 4 is going to be Spanish.
They've still got a little distance to go. Then they'll hit the last gate. They'll make a quick left-hand turn, and then it's towards the shore. Barring any major disaster, Spain will be celebrating well into the night. And here we go. Spain bringing it home. There's mark number 5. There's the finish line. There's the San Francisco skyline in the distance. This could be the greatest race in Spanish history. They won in Los Angeles. They won in Bermuda, and they've got problems.
They don't have problems. They've just called that ley line a little bit too tight, so they're having to sail really high angle to make this mark, which means they've come off of the foil here, leaving the door open behind them. The Australians are coming in 65 kilometers an hour. Pressure is on for the Spanish team to get back up on the foils here.
Here comes Australia. They make the turn, and now it's a drag race to the finish line. Can the Spanish get it done? They've got 100 meters to go.
Come on!
And they will get it. Vamos España. Spain claims season 4.
Vamos de Gallas.
Australia second, New Zealand third, no penalties. It is official.
Absolutely insane grand final race.
This is a team that started off day 1 with a 7th place finish, a 6th place finish, a 5th place finish. And then in race number 4, they came back with a 7th, only to win the final race, the grand final, $2 million richer.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition, and they just got that then perfect. They won the start, they led at Mark 1, and from there they kept it calm. They did the basics really well, and they sailed fast. Oh, fantastic. What a performance by this Spanish team.
This team has gone from strength to strength this season. They have mastered the light wind conditions and the epic conditions here in San Fran.
Congratulations, Spain. You have just won season 4 of SailGP.